Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first English version of the first of lectures of the series of events hosted by Web3HUB ZLIN. My name is Tomáš Hasík, and first of all, I would like to thank the Zlínský kraj for even making this thing possible, namely Mr. David Vychytil, Tomáš Janča, Jiří Jaroš. Then I would like to thank the Faculty of Applied Informatics, which is my alma mater, so that's why I'm especially proud to be here tonight. Namely again the Dean, Jiří Vojtěšek, and the Vice Dean of International Relations, Mr. Martin Hromada. And last but not least, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for participating tonight, because we in Web3HUB ZLIN, we believe that these technologies, these modern technologies, have a potential to change the world as we know it. And as you can see, our motto is to educate, to inspire, and to connect. So we would like to educate you a little bit, inspire you to use these technologies to your advantage, to improve your everyday life, not to be afraid of it, but to embrace it. And we would also like you to connect with other people who have the similar way of thinking. And without further ado, let me introduce you to the dearest friend and colleague of mine, Mr. Joshua Wheeler, who flew all the way from Australia to be here with us tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Like he lives in Zlín, but I'm proud that he has chosen Zlín to be his home from all the cities around the world. And that's it from me, so enjoy the show and be nice to him. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Tom. So yes, welcome to the first of a series of 7 lectures after this one. And I hope that I can give you some information that makes you think a little bit, but also give you information that will make you consider how you can progress from this point on. So without waiting around, let's jump straight on into this. So this is what our series of lectures will look like. So today we're going to be discussing Web3 and decentralization, and then we'll move into blockchain, and the continuing lectures from there will be about cryptocurrency, Internet of Things, DAOs, NFTs, artificial intelligence, cybercrime, and trading. But I'll give you a little bit of a taste of each of those as we go through today. So Web3, first of all, what is Web3? I'm sure all of you have heard this term before. Yeah, Web3 it pops up all over the place, and people are constantly talking about it. But what is it? So Web3 at its core is about data ownership. Okay? So Web3 and Web 3.0. Is there a difference? Are they the same? Yes. Well, no. They're different. Yeah? So let's talk about the differences between them. Before we jump into Web3, we have to find out where we've come from. So we've come from Web 1, Web 2, until now. Yeah, we're still in the transition stage between Web 2 and Web 3, but we've taken a long time to get to this point. Okay, so let's talk about each one of these aspects of web as we know it. So Web 1, back in 1991, was the first version of the World Wide Web as we know it. Yeah, so this was purely a read-only web. Yeah, so you could go to a web page, you could read some information, you could click a hyperlink, and it would take you from one page to another page. Rarely you would see a search bar, which you could type in a few keywords and it would give you something that you could look for or find on that page. But mainly it was click, shift to another page, click, shift to another page. So the interaction was minimal, okay? Of course, we remember Homer's web page. I think it was quite a hit here in Czech Republic. In Australia, we had it, but it was a very brief glimpse of our internet history. However, it's still active, it's still going, so feel free to visit it. It still functions exactly the way as Homer built it. Yeah. From there we move, to define it a little bit more, so Web 1 there was no analytics, there was no communication and collaboration between people. It was purely you interact with the web page and information is there available to you. Okay, so from there, Web 2.0. Yeah, this is where we are still kind of living now in our internet world. So Web 2.0 is highly interactive. We use social media. It's a very consistent thing in many of our lives. And a lot of the content that we see and view daily is created by us, the user. Yeah? You've heard of influencers. You've heard of YouTubers. These people who make money by creating content. That's where we are living right now. Web 2.0. It's highly interactive, so you are jumping from page to page, interacting, moving to the next one, interact even more. Yeah? You can upload your content. You can delete your content. It's all up to you. Okay, total control are in the hands of the middlemen, as we are calling them. So middlemen are corporations, the companies that you've probably heard of before. Yeah? If you think of Google, if you think of Meta, these are the companies that we're talking about. Okay? So all of the information that you put online, it goes through their servers. So they have access to that. Meta, Google, as I mentioned. Web 3.0 is known as the decentralized web. Okay, so Web 2.0 is highly centralized. All of our information gets collected into a single place and then distributed to where we want it to go. But it still goes to a single point and then out, so it's centralized. Web 3.0 is focusing on decentralizing. Yeah? So instead of me sending information to a server and the server sending the information to you, I'm sending it directly to you. You don't have to worry about anyone else seeing that data that I send you. So that's the focus for Web 3. It's visible, meaning whatever you think you want people to see, you can upload. However, you don't have to let everyone see it. The personal stuff, the data that you want to keep secret, you can definitely keep that hidden. Yeah? So it's just the option that it can be made public. Data is shared rather than owned, so that means that when you are uploading your information online, meaning your art or your music or something that you created, other people can view and use that. If you don't want them to use it, simply don't upload it or keep it offline. Simple as that. Okay, here we can see a very basic example of a network, and all of these computers can be connected. So we have a peer-to-peer network, so they can connect directly to each other. Okay? And we, as the group of people, would host the internet. So instead of a centralized group that would hold the internet and keep it for us, we would keep the internet going. We would keep it alive. We would be each our own little server with our own little piece of data that would connect with everybody else. Okay? Alrighty. So, Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So we have a few different names for them. Web 1, read-only, or another name we can call it is static web. Yeah? So it didn't really move much. It was just there, it existed, you could read it, and that was all. Web 2, read and write. So that's where we are now. So this is read and write. You can read everything you want. You can add information. You can create. So this is the social web. And now we're in Web 3, or moving towards Web 3, which is read, write, and own. You can read something, you can create something, but you own that thing. So it's not stored somewhere else. You can keep it on your computer. People can see it, but it's still yours. Nobody else can get their little fingers on it. Okay. Definition of Web 3 simply can be referred to as a concept of decentralization. The idea that you can take back control of your data, of your information, and keep it as yours. Whereas Web 3.0 is a little bit different. It focuses on utilizing all the key elements of technology and information systems that we have now and making them better. So it's focusing more on the technological and improvement side of the internet, so the next generation of internet, whereas Web 3 is focusing more on the, let's say, the social decentralized aspect of the internet. Okay? You'll hear these terms very often, and they are often confused. So before, when I started, I said yes and no. They're the same, but they're not. They have similar goals, but they have different ways of achieving those goals. So that's the little difference between those two. Okay, so let's move from there, and let's talk about centralization. Okay? So how centralized do you think the world is? Is it 50% centralized, 100%, no percent? Let's have a look. These are show business groups. So I'm sure you've heard of at least 50% of these groups before. Yeah? Sony, Disney, Comcast. Within them, they are also owning several other large groups that we know of, we've heard of. HBO, CNN, Fox, Hulu. Yeah, they all own these groups. So you think you're ordering from a single company. That company is owned by another company. Okay? Let's go a little bit deeper. Here we can see a great example of the top 10 largest groups in the world and what they own. what's underneath them. It's like an umbrella effect of companies that are owned by others. If you just have a quick look up here, you can see many of these groups I'm sure you recognize. Yeah? We have Nestle, of course, that owns Wonka, L'Oreal, Garnier, for example. Ralph Lauren down here, Giorgio Armani. You look further up top, we've got Cadbury. Yeah? These are all owned by other groups. This is what it would look like, let's say if you consider the market, a percentage that each element would be owned by those big groups. So we're not talking just few, 3, 4, 10%. We're talking almost the whole market is owned by somebody else. Here we have another example of that. I'm sure as we go around, you'll see some companies that you recognize once again. Yeah. So up here, we've got all these groups. So if you look up there, you can see MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Coinbase. If you go further up, you've got 3M, Kleenex, H&M. These are all owned by larger corporations. Yeah? If we flip around this chart, we can see even more. Yeah? Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Unilever, the large companies we saw before, they are owned by one particular group of people or organizations. Yeah? Nikon, Monopoly, Mattel, Nike, Adidas. Yeah? Some large groups. Over here, you might recognize this one. Where is it? Right there. Aeon. Yeah? So these groups are owned and cared for in regards to their assets by Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. Have you heard of those names before? Maybe a few people. Okay, so these are the ones that I want you to kind of remember from this day on. Okay, so when you're reading some information about a handover of ownership or somebody else who's in control of another group or organization, just think, okay, well, maybe if those names pop up, it could mean something. These are the logos to look out for. Adventurous, ships, sailing to the unknown. But they know everything. They own everything. This is the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is the top 500 performing companies in the US. How much of this group do you think Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are involved in? If you think 50%, you're halfway there. All of them. All of these companies are involved with those top 3. Let's have a look. So here we have the shares that these companies hold. You can see 15.6 with State Street, almost 30% with Vanguard, and 35.5% with BlackRock. Yeah? So we're talking about 80% of the ETF industry. I can't remember what ETF stands for. I apologize. No, it escapes me. Sorry. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Google. Look at the top 3 shareholders of Google. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. What about IBM? Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Amazon. You thought Mr. Jeffrey, he got all the money, didn't you? No, no, no. He has to share like everybody else. Pfizer, quite well known in the last 3 or 4 years. Also owned Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Airbnb, everyone's favorite neighborhood company. Vanguard, FMR, BlackRock, and State Street is also there, but a bit further down. PayPal. We have Cola and Pepsi, top 3 shareholders. Even though they're competing companies in the same market with almost a majority share between the two of them, they're owned or they work with these 3 groups. Apple, Microsoft, Visa, and MasterCard. They all share the same group of people that make money from them. So they are market movers. If they decide something, even if they're not majority shareholders, the markets listen because they own a piece of everything, fingers in every pie. Tesla and First Solar also. So how much do we think that they're worth? Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. Anyone have an idea? Anyone want to guess? Are we talking millions? Are we talking billions? Are we talking trillions? We're talking trillions. 30 trillion US dollars. So just take a moment, try to imagine physically how much money that is. If you imagine you've got a pile of 100 US dollars, how big is it? Is it this? Is it this? When we're talking about trillions, we're talking about more money than we can possibly imagine. So let's have a look exactly how much money we're talking about. Here we can see how much money has been flowing through certain groups. So we can see that these companies here, world's biggest companies, which are part of the 500, 807 billion. So nowhere near the amount of money. We can see cryptocurrency, also very, very small, 1.1 trillion, not enough. What about richest people? They've got some, 1.9 trillion, okay, we're getting closer, but still nothing compared to what these organizations own. We can move down here, we can look at the currencies of the world, 7.6 trillion. It's good. It's coins and banknotes, the physical fiat money that we know of, but it's still nowhere near. Gold is also there, 7.7 trillion, still not enough. Up here we can see the global stock markets. So this is where these groups are heavily involved. Yeah? UK, Japan, China, Euro, United States, plus the rest of the world is 73 trillion. What was the number I said before for Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street? 30 trillion. So they're almost half of what the entire world has in the stock market. So when you think the world is fairly fair and decentralized, come back to this point and think about, okay, if they own half which they publicly tell us, what do they own that they are not publicly telling us? Yeah. Hello? Okay, 30 trillion is the number, so keep that in mind. So when we talk about decentralization, we want to reduce this number down. However, it will take the majority of us for that to happen. Yeah? Okay, so that's decentralization, so let's move on from there. So when we talk about your data, I'm sure everyone here has some form of social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, yeah, or you had at some point in your life. So this is you, and these are the groups that your data is flowing through. So you'll see very often now that they release statements about how they use your data or how they protect your data. And what they're doing is they're actually allowing third parties, which are groups that they own. We spoke about the decentralization versus centralization. So they own smaller companies which are allowed to use your data for marketing. So they have access to your information because they are owned by these social giants. The social giants, they don't touch your data. No, it's not us. We would never. But here, if you want some extra information, there you go. We own you, so it's fine. It's okay. Yeah. So that's how the data is spread around. Google is an interesting one. They are very active in telling you how they don't want to release your data, how they want to protect it. Everything is secure, everything is fine. However, they've been collecting data from us for a long time. Okay? Here we can see the CAPTCHA. I'm sure everyone has experienced some pain and suffering with CAPTCHA or reCAPTCHA before. So Google actually bought CAPTCHA and then they rebranded it to reCAPTCHA. Yeah? Nowadays, I think the number is around 40% of websites still use them. However, most bots are able to bypass them regardless. But what they used CAPTCHA for was not just about collecting data from us in regards to access to their sites, but also about us teaching their systems how to recognize certain things. Yeah, so we can see the evolution of CAPTCHA here. So let's have a look. It all comes from this OCR, yeah, which is ocular character recognition. Yeah, so it's about recognizing with eyesight. Okay, it was created by Louis von Ahn and Carnegie Mellon University, and what they did is they started releasing CAPTCHA, so words and little symbols for us to recognize if the computer couldn't recognize them. So as they released this information, we as the world, we started being able to recognize 1,000 hours, 100,000 of these items per 100,000 hours worth of information per day, sorry. So we were reading the CAPTCHA and we were solving the CAPTCHA for this system, yeah? They decided they would test the New York Times, so they started copying the New York Times, and then through this process, Google bought CAPTCHA, and then they changed it. They started adding more information. Yeah, so this is what it would look like. They would take a photocopy of this piece of text, they would put it into the CAPTCHA or the reCAPTCHA, and then we as humans would see it, and we would write the correct word there. Yeah, so it would give us tricks, like to make us work harder to recognize these certain things. You can see sometimes they were trying to fool us. Don't type. Do I type? Do I don't type? Do I solve it? Do I not solve it? Yeah. And then they started to make it progressively more real. So here we can see a street sign. What benefit does the CAPTCHA have if we tell them what a street number is? Yeah. It doesn't. But they use that information for their system to recognize not just street signs, but street names as well, recognizing certain things in public. We have traffic lights, we have a bicycle, all because they wanted us to teach their computers, their systems, how to recognize these things. So as they went through, recognizing more and more, testing us with these little bits that overlap. Is it? Is it not? I've made the mistake. I've not clicked the one with the tire over there. Why would I? I would always, no, it's fine. You can't really see it. It's just a pedestrian on a bicycle, right? What's the worst that could happen? As an automatic vehicle, that's where the problem comes in. So they need us to solve these as accurately as possible in order for the machine, the automatic vehicle, to drive successfully on the road. Yeah? So Google has been using this for a very, very long time to gather information from us. Like I said before, sometimes they throw tricks. Please select all of the fire hydrants. I can see at least 4 on that one, right? If I was a computer, if I was a bot, who knows? Of course, find all the Jedi Masters. They're all around us all the time, so it doesn't matter. You can click any square you want. Finding Waldo. Recently, I've seen this one put through ChatGPT-4, and they found him and instructed you where he was. So now, it's getting smarter. Nowadays, we have this very simple one. Yeah? All you need to do is click the square. It's not difficult, right? Even a bot can do it, which the bot does. However, it's not the clicking of the square that they're collecting. They're collecting your movement of the mouse before you get to the square. So before you get anywhere near this center of this, it's already knowing that you are human. And that's the information that it's gathering. That you are moving the mouse, doesn't matter where you move it, anything that doesn't go immediately there and click that button, you're human. Done. Easy as that. Okay. From there, we're going to jump into blockchain. So I hope that everyone can bear with me. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know. I can slow it down, but I think that everyone's got it. Okay, so moving into blockchain. A very simple concept. You have some blocks and you have some chains. Easy. That's it. Okay, everyone, we can go home now. We're finished with blockchain. No, it's a little bit more complex than that. So I'll try to explain it to you as easily as I can. So let's have a look. Before we get to the full concept of blockchain, we have to understand what the principle of the blockchain is. Why was it created? So these two researchers, Mr. Haber and Mr. Stornetta, they decided that they would like a system that would be able to verify when something was created and make that record impossible to change. So that's the basics of blockchain. Creating an information system that you could put information into, a record, and then nobody else could change that information. They could change something else later on, but that would be recorded as well. That's the main principle for blockchain. The first person to utilize this system on a large scale was Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's the creator of Bitcoin. So if you're involved in that now, you'd be very happy. And so he created the first white paper. So I'll explain the white paper immediately after blockchain. But blockchain is what Bitcoin is built on. So it works like this. You could easily describe it as a distributed ledger and has 2 quite important features. Everyone can see the information that's gone into a blockchain, minus names and so on. But the information of a transaction or something that is necessary to store there is still recorded and possible for everyone to see. It's open, it's public. Yeah. The way that it works that makes it better than, or I don't want to spout it or try to sell it, But the reason why it could be better than a banking system is because the typical banking system works like this. You have your branches, and then you have your central database. Everything that these branches need to do must first travel through the central database, be verified by the central headquarters, and then sent back out to the branches. Yeah? So this is the centralized concept for blockchain, let's say. Decentralized or distributed ledger, you have the branches, which could be us, if we have a verified node connection, a node network, and we would verify everyone else's documents or what they need on that network. Yeah, so that's why the benefit of blockchain far outweighs the bank. You don't need to wait for it to go there and then come back. Yeah, there are a few other issues as well. Technical issues. Yeah, your bank might be offline for some time and you really need to send some money. Yeah, you could be hit with high transaction fees. If you're sending money from here to Australia, for example, you could be hit with $20, $30, $40 depending on the exchange rate and how much they charge. Transfer limits, hacking, these are all possible as well. Yeah, I'm sure there are many other issues, but these are the ones that we have for the moment. So how is blockchain more secure or so secure compared to our standard banking system? So let me explain what you would find in a block. 3 very important things. First of all is the data. So a Bitcoin block example, you would find at least these 3 things. Who is sending the money, who is receiving the money, and the amount. That's it. Very simple. The next most important factor is the hash. Yeah? So this is a 32-digit number and character, like alphabetic character, symbol, which is like a digital fingerprint. So each block has its own individual hash. Yeah? And I'll tell you how that's created in just a moment. All of these hashes connect to the previous chain. That's why they are all connected, because they all have something in common. Here we can see the first block in a series of chains, and it's 000, because this is the genesis block. This is the first of that long line of blocks. Each new block must have the hash of the previous block in it for it to continue that link. If it doesn't, we can see now the previous hash should be this, but someone's changed it. So that means that someone has tried to change the information inside that block. So now this block becomes invalid and it's removed from the chain, or somebody's trying to add a new chain of blocks on from that existing one, which would also change the hash. Okay, so once the hash itself has been altered, the block is considered invalid. Yeah, so that's why it makes it so secure. The way we get the hash is through something called proof of work. So these are a series of computations that the node, the people who are on the network, do. For example, with Bitcoin, you have a 10-minute period of time to commit some work through proof of work to the blockchain. Yeah? So it's a series of very complex mathematical structures that you must solve with your computing power. And through using your computer power and your electricity and your equipment, you create the value for the block. These people are called miners, the ones that do the proof of work. So these miners, they do these computational problems. And because they do the problems, but other people use their chain, these people must pay the miners. So that's where these transaction fees come in. That's why these miners at the beginning of blockchain were making so much money, because they were doing all of the hard work and there were only a few of them. Now we're talking about millions of people all trying to get some Bitcoin for doing that work. So now it's very complex, very difficult. You need a lot of computational power to achieve that. So that's what I mentioned just here. Okay, so we have hashing, we have proof of work. So these are 2 complex structures that are necessary for blockchain, for the security. But there's one more factor, and that's the people who are involved. It's a peer-to-peer network. Very similar diagram as we saw with decentralization. You have a group of people, their verified system allows them to not just trust, but know that the other people will do the work correctly. So they all hear about a new block being created, and the information is put towards them. So they complete their proof of work in their 10-minute window. So they all do computational problems, and they solve the issue, and then they all agree, they verify that they've all solved them, and now the new block is added to the chain. So not just one person can add a block. Everyone has to agree and everyone has to do some work to add that block to the chain. Then they reach a consensus. Yeah? So now with Bitcoin, for example, the chain is quite long. I will show you in a moment how long the chain actually is. But once you reach a consensus, you move on. These people can leave, not verify for several blocks, and then come back, and they can still regain continuation of that blockchain. Because they know that the other people on the blockchain who are part of that network, who are verified, have done the work correctly. Because they've all verified each other. Okay? Alrighty. So here we have a few examples of different types of blockchain. So fully public blockchain, which everyone can use, everyone has access to. Bitcoin, Ethereum, most of the coins we hear about or tokens we hear about today are on the public blockchain. Then we have semi-private. So think about a group of people who are trying to create a small business where they're bringing something from the field to your door. For example, carrots or potatoes. So the farmer, he grows the potatoes, he counts the potatoes, and he adds that information to the blockchain. No one else has access to that part, just him. He adds the number, the delivery truck comes and picks up the delivery. He also verifies that the number of potatoes are there. He verifies he's taking it to the shop. At the shop, now it's become closed, it's private because only the people within the shop can use it, and then they sell it. So at each point, information is added to the blockchain, from growth to your dining room table. And you can go back and you can check. All that information would be available for you to see. You couldn't change it, but you would see it. Oh, sorry. So then over here we have Fabric, Hyperledger, private blockchain. This will be within companies. So if you imagine a large company, for example, like Continental, Barum Continental, it's a large company over there in Otokovice, and they need to share information together on one Continental blockchain. And all they do is they put the information in, gets verified by all the other nodes within the company, and anyone can check the information. How many tires were produced that day, how hot the presses were, how many people were sick, all the information would be there. Yeah? And anyone in the company would have access to it. Then we have the Ella chain, which is on a consortium blockchain. It's actually used here in Faculty of Applied Informatics. And it's about people within the groups are able to share information to an organizational blockchain, which has other organizations involved, but only within those organizations. You must go through a series of protocols where you have to do some information, create gather some information, or put forward some initiative that you would like to do. And then you can join this blockchain if they all agree that you are suitable. Yeah? So this is called Ella chain. All right. Then we come to smart contracts. They're neither smart nor a contract. Think of them more like programmable money. Yeah? And these live on the blockchain. And these function as when something is achieved or when something is got to, then they take action. Then they do what they are required. Yeah? So they're more like programs that function if and when. If something happens, when it will occur, then we can continue the contract conditions. I'll discuss those more in a moment when we get to DAOs. Here are some use cases for blockchain. Internet of Things, we will talk about that one. Cybersecurity, supply chain I mentioned before. Healthcare, pharmaceuticals. Imagine you're a doctor in a hospital and you would like to know information about a patient. It's there on your tablet, ready to go. You don't have to call someone, travel across the whole zone. You just look for the information on your tablet and it's ready and available. Because you're verified, you're trusted. There's nothing else you need to do. You just type in the name and you can see that information. Okay, let's move on, shall we? All right, so next we're going to be talking about crypto. So I'm going to share with you a screen just now. And this is here. All right, so this is a website called TX Street. So this was made for us by the amazing people at Texas University. And what they've done is they have created a real-time transaction image or view of Ethereum and Bitcoin. So we can see that all of these on this side are from Ethereum, and Ethereum supports many, many different tokens. And on that side, we have Bitcoin. In the middle, we have these two rows of carriages or blocks. And as they are filled up, they are completed, and then they move to be secured on the blockchain. There's different fees and costs associated with it. You can see here 45 Gwei, which is the small currency for Ethereum, and it's quite expensive at the moment. But each of these and each little person represents a transaction. Yeah. So this is the hash. So each one of them has an individual hash. Every single one is different, like this. So each transaction put into one of these blocks has its own hash as well. So here you can see how much information is inside. It's almost full, and once it's full, meaning reaches the 10 minutes mark, it's going to be sent away. Yeah? Okay, so that's TX Street. You're more than welcome to check that out, txstreet.com. Simple as that. Okay, let us continue. Here we can see the top 10 performing cryptocurrencies. So of course, Bitcoin's up there number 1, Ethereum number 2, Tether USD. They're all the top ones. And you can see all the information that you would need in order to, let's say, read about what's going to be happening or what has happened already. And all that information is here as well. So the market cap is the amount of coins or tokens that are in circulation and multiplied times the price, multiplied by the price. So if you think about Bitcoin, there are 19.5 million Bitcoin in circulation, times the price, which I think now is $30,000, 29, let's say. So that would be the market value for Bitcoin. Then you've got the volume, how much is traded in any time scale. You can see 1 day, 7 days, month, year, and all. So it's about how much of it is being transferred, bought and sold. Bitcoin dominance against the rest of the market. We saw the top 10 before. So that Bitcoin dominance is Bitcoin versus the rest. So now I think we're around the number of about 8,000 different cryptocurrencies, plus minus. So it's still holding out very strongly against the rest of them. And then the last one is the Fear and Greed Index. So that one's suggesting if people are trying to buy Bitcoin, if they're trying to sell Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin is just doing nothing. People are afraid to use it. Yeah? Okay. Last but not least, when it comes to blockchain technology, we had Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper. Yeah? So the white paper basically is the academic report of what he was trying to achieve with this project. Yeah? So you need some key pieces of information. Yeah? You need the project outline, what it's going to do. Yeah? You need the people that will be involved, what it's going to solve, and then how you're going to get to that problem solved at the end. Yeah? So this is just the abstract from his paper. However, if you would like to read it, it's about 9-10 pages long, and he goes into detail about e-cash, about using electronic money, digital money, and how he solved that problem, and how he limits Bitcoin to 21 million coins. There'll never be more. If you compare that with the American dollar, is there a cap to the American dollar? Will it ever stop being printed? I don't think so. They're just going to dig a big hole. So that's the beauty of some of these coins. They have this limitation, but if you compare with Ethereum, for example, it's unlimited, but they are trying to find ways to control how much is created. Okay, from crypto, we're going to have a look at Internet of Things, DAOs, and NFTs. Remember the word smart contract, because now I'll be able to explain that a little bit more clearly to you when we get to DAOs. Okay, so Internet of Things. You've probably heard this term as well. It's quite a new and very often spoken about term, Internet of Things. Basically, they're items that you have around your house that make your life easier. They do very ordinary, simple tasks. They vacuum your floor. They start washing the dishes when you're at work. You can ask them to do certain things for you, record programs. This is the Internet of Things, very simple. However, it's developing faster and faster, and more things are becoming smart. Toothbrush, pillow, shoes, everything is smart nowadays. But there are some positives. So when we talk about these things that are going to make our lives a bit easier, we can talk about playing games. Your games will be faster, more efficient. We'll speak about latency in a moment. Industry automation, meaning that you can run an entire factory with one person instead of a team of people doing all of the work. Self-driving cars, we mentioned before, now they can recognize numbers, street signs, people. Yeah, you don't really need to be involved anymore. You can just sit back and relax. If you can afford them, of course. The whole idea, getting a smart city. Our Web3HUB ZLIN, we're working towards smart city. We don't want Zlín to be smarter so much, but we just want Zlín to function in a smarter way. More efficiency, to be better. But then we get to smart homes, and there are still some, let's say, issues that we're dealing with when it comes to smart devices. They can be a little bit melodramatic. Herbert requires your attention. Herbert is stuck near a cliff. Terrifying for a robot who lives this close to the floor. And here, his life has been basically turned upside down. He doesn't know what to do because he's programmed to do one single thing. Vacuum the floor, avoid cliffs. Oh, that's two things, actually. But then you also have this issue, which could be a nice little Christmas gift. We have our little chihuahua dressed up as an elf, and he's left us a nice little Christmas surprise. The bot doesn't know, he's cleaning. Doesn't matter if the cleaning is wet and smushy and smells a little bit, he's doing his job. Okay, so from there, after that we can talk about some theoretical concepts. So I mentioned latency before, I mentioned the speed. It'll be much faster if we move from now 4G into 5G, where the Internet of Things will thrive. It will have the connective power that it needs. It will be much faster. We'll go from 100 megabytes to 10,000, 10 gig per second. So imagine what you could do with that much power. You could run everything in your house non-stop. You would never need to worry about downloading issues ever again. Latency theoretically could drop down to 1 millisecond. So we're talking basically no lag between you playing a game and you killing someone on Fortnite. It wouldn't matter. 1 million devices per square kilometer. Zlín is 102 square kilometers. So you do the math. How many devices do you think Zlín could fit? Millions, tens of millions. Yeah? It would be massive benefit to us. Okay. It's connecting 3 different worlds: virtual, physical, digital. You wake up in the morning, and most of us here would have breakfast. You would have cereal. You put milk in your cereal. Oh, milk's gone. Okay, so I'll leave the container out here on the bench, and I go to work. My smart fridge recognizes that I didn't put the milk jug back in. So, there's no milk for a period of time. It sends a message to Rolik. Bring more milk. So it orders the milk for you. You arrive back home. Rolik arrives at the same time. Oh, thank you. All your shopping has been done, ordered by your smart fridge. You don't have to worry about stopping on the way home. You don't have to worry about forgetting something when you get back. The fridge does it for you. Yeah, it's programmed to do that. It has that one function to make sure that your fridge is full. Okay, now we move on to NFTs. So NFTs, they are, let's say, valuable. They have function, of course, but they stand for non-fungible token. It's funny, in Czech, the translation is non-functioning token, which is debatable, but definitely arguable. So we have 4 different categories here. We have fungible and physical tokens, or items, and they can be money. My money, my $10 is the same as your $10. Yeah, we can interchange that. Yeah, I can spend it over there, you can spend it there. It's absolutely no problem. Yeah, my coins are the same. My pile of gold, which I've got in my living room, is the same as your pile of gold in your living room, right? Because everyone has piles of gold. Then we have fungible and digital. So now we're talking about these coins, these tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum. These are points, loyalty points. Every time you go to Tesco or you go to Billa and you scan that little card, these are digital tokens. Yeah, you can use them to get the little prizes and toys for children and other food products. But those points that I have are the same value as the points that you have. There's no difference between them. We can exchange them, it's not a problem. Non-fungible, physical, art, homes, yeah? Tickets. If we get tickets to a concert, it's the same value. Yeah, we can exchange them to each other. As long as we go to that concert, it's fine. Non-fungible and digital. So this is the new revelation. We can get skins, we can get items in-game. We can talk about CryptoKitties, which were one of the first versions of NFTs. And then finally, we've got the paperwork. So we're talking about contracts, we're talking about digital ownership. Yeah? So when we talk about NFTs and these forms of digital ownership, you own that thing. It's digital, it's online, everyone can see it, but you own it. You've got the paperwork that authorizes that you are the owner. Yeah? No one else can take that away from you, but everyone can copy it. Print screen, it's mine now, sorry. $500,000, doesn't matter. Okay, so fungible. To recap, my $10, the same as your $10. Then we have something called semi-fungible. I have a concert ticket, you have a film cinema ticket. Same value, but we can't use them in the same place. So they are semi-fungible. We could exchange them, definitely, because they're the same value, but it wouldn't give us access to the place that we would like to see, whether it's a concert or cinema or something similar. And then we have the non-fungible. Represents something unique, one of one. So this is where that ownership comes in. If you put your ID online in a blockchain and you store it there, it's online, it's yours, it's one of one, you can prove it, that's it, it's yours. You can put your art with your ID as well. You create something, you draw something, you're like, you know what, I'm going to save that. I'm going to digitize it, put it next to my ID, it's going to be stored there and safe. Yeah, but it's yours, it's one of one. Now we come to DAOs. So DAOs are still quite new and they are slowly beginning to take shape as people begin to trust how they work. So basically a DAO, as it said there, decentralized autonomous organization. People invest their idea and their money for tokens inside this organization. They create a smart contract within that organization. And when something happens, that smart contract will execute and the DAO will function automatically. So basically, it's like if you have a private investor, which you give your money to, and he invests for you automatically. And there's no issue about you disagreeing with him. You told him exactly what he needs to do, and he'll do exactly what you said. This is a DAO. So let me share a little bit more about it. We have 5 people here. Each of them has an idea for their DAO, for their system. So they all put their ideas in. They all have to pay some amount of money for a token in that DAO or a group of tokens in that DAO. Then they vote. The ideas they like, they leave in. The ideas that don't reach the consensus, they reject. Yeah? You can leave the money in or you can take the money out. It's up to you. If you have another idea, you can obviously pay more and put more ideas in. But this is probably the best way to explain how a DAO works. These 3 gentlemen up here, they are the creators of this DAO over here, which is a vending machine. The vending machine is like a smart appliance. Yeah? Inside the vending machine, there are smart contracts. These smart contracts allow the machine to order cleaning for itself, to pay the rent for the location where it is, and also to order new material, new products inside if it feels that it's running low. Yeah? So these guys have programmed this machine to do exactly those things. So that's what the DAO would do. The DAO would make sure that it cleans itself, orders new product, and pays for its rent. That's a DAO, simply as it can be. However, if this guy over here who programmed the cleaning, he decides he wants to add another feature, so he creates the smart contract, he buys a little bit more token power, and he puts that money in, and they agree. Now his power in the vote has gone up, ever so slightly, but he now has more power. So that's one of the issues with DAO, is that if you keep pumping money in with ideas that keep getting voted for, it would end up as a centralized object. So that's still an issue of trying to figure out how to balance that. Yeah? How it operates, they vote. More token value you have, the more power your vote has, but you still need to reach a consensus. So if you have one person who has 50% voting power of all the tokens, he can make or break the DAO. Yeah? He has the power completely to change how the DAO works, but still he has to get other people to agree with his ideas. If the consensus at the beginning when it's created is 50%, that's all he needs. If the consensus is 90%, he needs people to be on his side to vote for his ideas. Okay? Alrighty. So that's Internet of Things, DAOs, NFTs. Now we're going to move into AI. So of course, AI is a very hot topic at the moment. people here who are using ChatGPT and experimenting with certain bots and functions of AI. It's very exciting, I know, it's very good. But we have two versions at the moment. The first version is weak or narrow, if you hear the term ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, or you can have strong or general, AGI, artificial general intelligence. We're still on the weak, narrow side of artificial intelligence at the moment. It usually has a simple function, but AI works like this. Perceives its environment. So imagine the Roomba, yeah, stuck on a cliff. Cliff is an unknown environment, so it panics. That's why the message is sent. Detects patterns. So you put the Roomba down, moves around the environment, testing where the table legs are, where the dog sleeps, where the carpet is, and it learns the area. It maps the area. It finds out that you go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's like, okay, 9:30 is when I start the vacuum. Not 3 a.m., not 7:30 when everyone's running around the house. 9:30 is the perfect time. So it follows that pattern. It updates its understanding and decides to change if necessary. You move the dining room table, you get a new puppy. The robot has to understand that there's changes that are occurring, and then it has to adapt. It has to perceive, detect the pattern, and update. Yeah? So, weak or narrow intelligence is very basic, has a singular goal. It just wants to function as it's programmed to do. You want it to vacuum, it'll vacuum. You want it to detect the area, it'll detect the area. You want it to order milk, it'll order the milk. Yeah? Very simple, straightforward, has a single task, goal-oriented, that's its function. Very, very simple. The strong intelligence, or the general intelligence, is a little bit more complex. It likes to learn, it likes to figure out kind of why things are. Like I said, we're not at this level yet. This is still a long, long way away, hopefully, because once it starts to reason and think the way that we do, we may be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah? But there's still signs that it could be useful for us. Yeah? It can be fully autonomous. It can do multiple things at once. You can ask it, for example, yesterday I hurt my leg and today I didn't have breakfast, but should I go running or should I play tennis? And based on information, it would deduce what you should do. So it would, from its understanding of who you are, it would learn about your energy levels, it would learn how you perform, and it'll tell you, maybe tennis would be a good idea because it will give you more breaks. Artificial narrow intelligence wouldn't be able to tell you that. It would guess. AGI has the potential that it could figure that out for you. So the level of your thinking would not be so extreme. Okay, AI's future is a little bit up in the air. We will see how it's going to be. There are a few things we have to think about. Job creation, you controlling the AI. As we have it now, AI needs our input. When you, for example, talk with ChatGPT, you input a prompt, you input a concept, an idea, and it responds. It's not going to just create the response without an input. It needs something from us. So we are still valued in that respect. Data processing. ANI will process a lot of data, and then that data will be used for AGI. Yeah, so when we talk about deep learning, it's recording a lot of this information, much like Google did with CAPTCHA, and it's doing the same thing with this sort of information about us and about the way we live our lives. Okay, lower human error. It's also debatable. The chatbots still make issues as well, still make errors as well. So we still have to monitor it to make sure that it's functioning properly. Security risks. If you upload something into it, is it secure? Is it going to stay there? Do other people have access to it? That's the question. Only the people who have created it would be able to tell us that. Yeah? So once again, the data comes into question. Deep learning, I spoke about chatbots, and then the ethical understanding. Now, for those of you who are in the educational sphere, there's a big debate with universities and schools if ChatGPT or these bots should be used or not. No one can decide. Is it ethical for them to write your essay, or should you get it to write your essay, reread it, rewrite it, and then it's yours? That's the question. Yeah? All right. I'm going to play a short video now. This connects this topic with also the next topic, which is going to be about cybersecurity. So just take a moment to watch this 2-minute video about how AI can be used in the wrong way. Okay, so
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know, for you, these pictures are just memories, but for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. A future where my identity can be stolen just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom.
Mom, I'm in trouble.
I need you to send me money, please. I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school.
Kill yourself, you fucking loser.
And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom, please, Dad, protect my virtual privacy.
Okay, so quite dramatic, but we are at the point now where this is not impossible. So it's becoming a reality where you can upload 2 minutes of your own voice, you can map your face, and this can be easily created through AI. With that in mind, we're going to move now to cybercrime for a very brief touch on this. I just want to speak to you about the main issue with cybercrime, or the main crime that can occur, which is ransomware. I'm sure you've heard of this before. Yeah? If something gets into your computer, you click on a link, or I heard the great example from my friend Tom that if you want to infect a school or an organization, you just take a flash drive, infect it with a virus, and throw it in the car park in front of the building. Who's going to pick it up? Probably the secretary or someone who has no idea what's on it. They're going to be, oh, what's on here? Maybe there's some Bitcoin. It's in the computer, and that's it. The whole system can be shut down. So ransomware works that way. Also, when you are locked out of your computer, the person who created it will then be notified. They'll contact you, usually the scammer or the person who's trying to get that information, and they'll usually request something. Nowadays, very common to request cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or something alike. You can send them the money, you transfer it to them. Now that's lost in the data trail of blockchain. You can see the transaction, but you don't know who received it, where the money went. It's just there as a record. They might not unlock your computer. They don't have to. There's no law that's telling them that they have to unlock it once you've paid them the money. They might just leave it locked and then delete that account, and that's it. No communication, and you're still locked out. So ransomware is a big one. Also, we have the ishings. Many ishings around us. So these are the three most important ones. Phishing, vishing, smishing. Very important to remember in that order. We all know about phishing scams. You just cast the line, reel them in. You just have to click a link. They just have to put something on your computer. If you open the email, it's there. Yeah, very similar to the USB. Voice fraud, vishing now is becoming a very common thing. Yeah, similar to the smishing, which is through SMS. They'll contact you through a known number. It could be police. It could be a bank. Oh, we need you to send us some information at this email address. Oh, we need you to come to the bank. We need to see your ID. They just want to see who you are. Yeah, they want to get an image of what you look like. So they'll use this to make you panic, make you worry. And we don't deal well under stress. That's where these fraudsters thrive. For them, the stress makes you react very quickly, and that's their edge. That's how they have the advantage of making us do something which would help them. Yeah? So these three are very important to look out for. Okay, just a few statistics about cyberbullying. So this is also goes hand in hand. Yeah? As we saw in the video before, no one is safe. Once you upload something online, an image or a comment, It's very, very, very difficult to get rid of that. I would say probably impossible. Yeah. So think about the amount of information that you put online. 13% of children worldwide reported they were harassed on social media. That's just social media. That's not in-school bullying. That's not by family members. That's just social media. So if you think about the amount of children between the age of 10 and 18 in the US, this will be about 9 million people just in the US. 9 million children. Yeah. 41% of adult users of the internet also suffered from some form of harassment. Could be workplace, could be colleagues, could be people they don't even know. We have a term for these people who comment and share disinformation. We call them keyboard warriors, because they do all their fighting from behind the screen. Yeah. 80% of cyberbullying occurs between the ages of 13 and 15 years old. That's one to remember, because how much growing do you do in these years? You're changing from a child to a young adult. All it takes is someone to say something super negative every day for a year. It can change you. It can develop some very serious long-term implications. 57% of the children who were cyberbullied knew who bullied them. Family, friends, people they knew at school. Yeah? So this can have a long-term effect for many of these people. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to be talking about trading. So this is going to be a very short one. But you know what? I think I might invite my friend Tom up. He explains it incredibly well. Tom, would you like to come up and talk about trading? I know your passion for this.
Trading is something, I know a lot about. The bad experiences and the good ones. But we only have one slide here, and that's or I think we do, and that's the Wall Street cheat sheet of trading, which I believe everybody should know. And every market on planet Earth, if you talk about crypto, stocks, fiat currency, so forex market, every market really has these cycles. And it's like the older the market is, the longer are the cycles. So for example, if we apply it to cryptocurrency is quite new market, so the cycles are shorter, years, not decades. But so let's see how it all starts. You know, nothing's going on for a while, and then there is a spike. So you are in a disbelief phase. You talk to yourself like, okay, like this is going nowhere, just some Elon Musk tweet or something, nothing important. Then it still goes up, and you start hoping, and you are like, okay, this actually might go somewhere, might go up. I might invest a little bit. Then we are in optimism, and you are like, wow, I'm actually making money. Let's invest some more. Let's invest half of what I have, for example. Then here comes belief, and it's still going up, and you are gaining more and more percentage on what you invested. And so you start to believe, and you are like, okay, this is my retirement. I'm going to invest everything I have, and I'm going to be a millionaire, surround myself with models on my brand new yacht in Caribbean. And here comes the thrill. Like the percentage of your income keeps going up, and you start thinking that you are a genius. You conquer the market. You made it. And then at the top of the market, here comes the euphoria. You really think that you beat them all, that they're all stupid, they're all too late, but you figure it out. You are a genius. You've made it. You see that 100%, 200, 500,000% income or like profit, but it's still hypothetical because you haven't closed the trade yet. It's there, but the human nature stops you from sell it, from stop the trade, because you want more. Like you want your kids never to have to work in their lives. You want your friends, you want to give each of them one Bitcoin, show them what a great investor you are. So you're not selling. And here comes the first glitch. You are like down. You are now down from 100% profit down to 50% profit, but you're saying to yourself, that's okay. The market needs some liquidity. You know, we need to reach down to go up. You know, it's just the way it is. So you complacency. So you complacence yourself.
You are complacent.
Oh, wow, okay, thank you. That everything's gonna be okay. So no time to panic. We just need to breathe, and then we're gonna go up again. But it continues to go down, and you are like full of anxiety, and you are like, man, like, why am I getting all these margin calls? Like, this is a bull's market, you know, we're still going up. But then it's too late, and you are in denial. This is like just like the 5 stages of cancer, let's say, you know, of every serious medical condition. You are in denial, and you are like, no, like, this is still gonna be okay. I'm in minus now, but I was all the way up, so I have to get up there. Then you start to panic. Shit, everyone is selling. I need to get out, but it's already too late. And then you capitulate, then you get angry, and then you get depressed. But by the time you get angry and depressed, there's been a whole other half of the market cycle, and then it starts again with the same disbelief as there was before. And so you've been schooled. It's been years. And you're like, no, man, like last time I lost everything. I'm not going to invest it again. But actually, like this is very, very easy to remember. This is very easy to learn. And when you ask someone who's invested or who is like self-proclaimed investor, they might tell you that they know this by heart. But always ask them the very key question, and that is, where do you think we are now? And if you have, let's say, 4 investor friends, they will tell you that, oh, by the way, none of this is financial advice. We should have started with this one. Nice trick, though. So this is not a financial advice. But if you have 4 investing friends, they will tell you that we are here right now. So that's where they all differ, you know. And you can never know where we are right now. That's the beauty of it. And that's why trading is not easy at all. And whoever succeeds in trading is like has to consider it a full-time job, you know, because that's where it is. So.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the explanation.
Thank you. I will kill later.
Okay, so thank you very much. So we can see that this is the psychology of a market cycle, and this can be considered, I don't know, something to kind of not live by, but definitely if you're involved in this sort of thing, definitely consider trading carefully. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our session, so I would like to thank you very much for your time. Our next session will be also here, but with the wonderful Roman Valihrak, and he'll be helping us discuss the secrets of blockchain. So we'll take a deep dive into blockchain, how it functions, how it works, and he's going to be helping us go through that. So if you'd like to register for the next session, the QR code is there. However, you can find the information on our website as well. So I would like to thank you all very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening. I hope we cleared a few things up, or if not, at least we gained your interest to try and find out for yourselves as well. We definitely encourage finding out as much information as you can, because this market is ever-changing, not just with crypto, but with AI, with blockchain technologies, with new ideas, businesses. Definitely take the time to do a little bit of research. So thank you very much. Thank you.